Woo! What's going on, guys? Owens Forum coming at you guys today with another video. And today's video is week 3. Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. First road game of the season for the Detroit Lions. Going to Mini, an NFC North showdown. Let's get to the injury report right away. Lions, pretty big injury report, but it seems like most of these guys will be going on Sunday. Defensive end John Kaminsky got that wrist surgery. He's out for at least 3 weeks. Didn't put him on the IR or anything like that. So he's probably going to be week to week. Hopefully he gets going sooner than later. So he didn't practice. Offensive guard Jonah Jackson has a finger. Did not practice. Well, it doesn't look like he's going to be going either. Defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, the rookie out of Michigan, got a thigh injury. You know, they're saying it's a Charlie horse. Hopefully it's not worse than what they're leading on, but he's missed two practices in a row. Did not practice today. Let's see what goes on tomorrow during those walkthroughs. And then safety Tracy Walker, no injury though, did not practice. He's got a baby on the way. Congratulations, Tracy Walker. Hopefully everything is all good. Tight end TJ Hawkinson has a hip. He was limited at practice. This is a new injury too as well, I think. Center Frank Ragnow got a foot injury. He was limited too. The groin injury is not even on the table anymore, so maybe it's gone. I'm not even too sure, but it's just a foot right now, which is a good sign. Then running back DeAndre Swift has an ankle. He was limited practice. Looks like they're trying to get him a lot of rest so far early on. And then some full practices right here. Cornerback Amani Awaroriye is back at full practice with that back. Safety Ifeatu Melifonwu. Got that hamstring. He was a full go. And then safety Juju Hughes had a shoulder injury after that Washington game. He was a full practice as well. So a few guys on the injury report. Looks like 2 probably will not be going. 2 for sure. Well, Kaminsky 100% not going. Looks like Jonah Jackson won't be going again. So we'll see what happens with this O-line and if they're going to stay the course and keep what they had last week. But we'll talk about the Minnesota. Oh no, let's talk about the Minnesota injury report. Very small. Cornerback Andrew Booth got a quad, did not practice. Don't know what's going on. We'll see tomorrow. Then safety Harrison Smith has a concussion. Probably their best defensive player or one of their best defensive player. He's in concussion protocol. He did not practice either, so he's going to have to at least pass protocol tomorrow in order to dress for Sunday. Now let's get to the Minnesota roster. Quarterback Kirk Cousins. We all know who Kirk is. He's good. He's bad. He's up and down. He's one of those guys. He almost kind of reminds me of a Jared Goff. You know what I mean? He can be up. He can be down. You don't know what you're really going to get from him week to week. He had a really bad game last week, though. Philadelphia game plan pretty good around him. They got running back Delvin Cook, who's a monster. Alexander Madison is a pretty good running back as well. CJ kind of rounds it off. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson, probably one of the best wide receivers in the NFL today, in my opinion. Adam Thielen, the old man, is still getting it done. KJ Osborne, a little sneaky little slot guy. And then Jalen Reagor, a guy that came over from the Philadelphia Eagles, who hasn't done much, is a first or second round pick, who hasn't done anything in the NFL. Been a big disappointment for the Eagles and then hasn't really done much for the Vikings. Then tight end Irv Smith Jr. is a guy that I like. He's a target guy. Big dude, really good receiving tight end. And then Johnny Munt, a guy that's basically your pass blocking, run blocking kind of tight end, but catches a few passes down the line. And then offensive line, they have a decent O-line, nothing special. Center Garrett Bradbury, who's decent, who hasn't really developed for them as they would like. Left guard Ezra Cleveland. Right guard Ed Ingram, the rookie out of LSU, for like a 4th round pick, I believe he was. Left tackle Christian Darrisaw, a second-year guy as well. And then right tackle Brian O'Neill, who I think he's one of the best right tackles in the business today. He's a really good right tackle. I think they're stronger on their bookends with O'Neill and Darrisaw developing. He's improving. Ingram, the rookie, he's basically a road grader, but very questionable in the pass protection, so they can attack him up the middle. And then right guard, who a guy that came from Indy, played pretty well for the Indianapolis Colts last year in some spot duties, over 500 snaps. Didn't give up a sack last year for the Indianapolis Colts. So He might even get some playing time. He might even start. Don't really know, but look out for a guy named Chris Reed, especially if Ed Ingram is struggling, or Ezra Cleveland is kind of struggling. But Chris Reed's a guy that they could possibly put in there, get some playing time. Then on their defense, man, I really like their bookends on their defense. Minnesota Vikings, they got a defensive end, Danielle Hunter, and then defensive end, Zadarius Smith, who are usually their 1 and 2 punch. And then a guy that is kind of slept on a little bit, defensive end, DJ Wonnum. A guy that can actually get to the quarterback. He was a late pick by them a couple years back too, but he can get to the quarterback, man. He's got some giddy up to him. And then defensive tackle Delvin Tomlinson, who's pretty much a run stuffer with a little bit of pass rush ability. And then defensive tackle Harrison Phillips, and then defensive tackle Jonathan Bullard. They got a couple other guys too, but those are basically the guys that that need to be talked about. Personally, I think. And then linebacker Jordan Hicks, the guy that played for the Arizona Cardinals for a while, came over, had a really good week 1 against the Green Bay Packers. Didn't do much against the Eagles last week, but he's a vet, and he's got some talent to him. Then Eric Hendricks, the old reliable, I think he's a pretty good linebacker as well. And Troy Dye. Then they got a guy, Brian Asamoah, who's a rookie out of Oklahoma. They drafted him late. I don't remember when they drafted him this year. I want to say 5th or 6th round. Could be wrong. He was an Oklahoma guy. He's kind of a tweener, 6 foot, 225 pounds. Can play a little bit of safety. Can play a little bit of linebacker. One of those speedy guys. Hasn't done anything really in the NFL yet. Hasn't got much playing time, but maybe they unleash him this week. Who knows? And then the DBs, cornerback Andrew Booth, who I talked about, who has a quad injury. He didn't practice today, so who knows what's going on with him. We'll see tomorrow. Then safety Harrison Smith, obviously questionable, got the concussion protocol, and we'll see what happens with him. Then safety Cameron Bynum, cornerback Patrick Peterson, the old man, cornerback Cameron Dantzler Sr., cornerback Chandon Sullivan, a former Packer right there. Safety Josh Metellus, cornerback Caleb Evans, who's another rookie in the 4th round, who looks like is their starter right now, especially with Booth on the shelf, and we'll see more of that. And then safety Lewis Seen, and another rookie, a big body rookie, long, lean, hasn't really done anything in the NFL the last 2 weeks. He's a rookie. Does he play a lot? Because Harrison Smith won't be able to go, but we'll see what happens there. Not really too sure. But let's talk about this Lions. Let's talk about this Lions offense versus this Vikings defense. Now, our offense is absolutely explosive right now, and I think the Vikings defense can be exploited up the middle. Like I said, I like their 2 bookends. You got to keep those 2 bookends honest. I believe you got to hit them in the mouth with the run game, and I think that's what Ben Johnson's been trying to do the last 2 weeks. He's really trying to get that run game going, mixing it up with the nice. With the run and pass, not being one-dimensional, but you got to keep those two. You got to keep those 2 animals at bay. You got to keep those 2 guys with their ears, not pinned back, pointed straight up, not knowing what's going on. You got to have those guys guessing what's going on. You can't just let them hunt, because those 2 beasts will hunt, and they will get to the quarterback. So you got to hit him in the mouth with this run game. And I think that's what we'll be doing. We'll be using a combination of Swift, Jamal Williams, and Craig Reynolds again, like we did last week. And that should be a good formula to at least keep those 2 guys honest. Because we don't want them running free, making plays. Hunter and Zadarius Smith and DJ Wonnum. You don't want any of those guys doing that. And I think they have a couple good linebackers as well. Like I like what's his name? I like was a linebacker I'm looking for. I like Eric Hendricks. He's a good guy that has made a lot of plays in the NFL, and he always seems to make plays against the Detroit Lions. If you've ever noticed that, he's always making plays against the Lions. And Jordan Hicks, a little bit of an older dude, but can play good football. He's playing good football in Arizona. He can play good football for the Minnesota Vikings. So. But those 2 are the only ones that are really I fear the most out of the linebacking group. And then their corners and then their safeties, I think we can, especially if Harrison Smith is not playing, We can hit those guys on the short. Obviously you're going to use Amon-Ra St. Brown to death. Going to hit him. Hopefully Hawk plays too. He's got a little bit of an injury too, but maybe Brock Wright could step in. Who knows? But they're going to need to at least run the ball consistently. Keep away from those two guys, Hunter, Darius Smith, and Wooden. Hit him short. Hit him with the play action. That's where Jared Goff is at best with the play action. And like I feel like I'm just like, I'm kind of saying the same thing almost week in and week out. Like this team is going to live and die by lots of things. Like I said, the defense is going to live and die by the D-line. This offense, I think, is going to live and die by the run game. If the run game's not going, we're in trouble. And Jared Goff's in trouble because he works very well off the play action. Sometimes I drag Jared Goff through the mud. Sometimes it's not necessary. But if he doesn't have a good run game going, we're basically in a lot of trouble. He's not a good enough quarterback to get himself out of that trouble. Like he's not like a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. He's not, you know what I mean? If something's not working, you can rely on those quarterbacks to kind of get you out of trouble or just get your offense clicking. Jared Goff's not good enough to do that. So he's a middle of the pack, a little bit below average quarterback that can play it safe. It needs a lot of help, in my opinion, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a shot at Jared Goff. I'm not making fun of him, so don't get your panties all in a bunch, all you Goff truthers. It's not about that. I just think he needs a lot of bit of help, and I think we have it. We have a good old line, even though it might be makeshift again this week, but they need to do a lot of things in order for Goff to be successful. We need to stop dropping the football too. That's for sure. And that's not helping out Goff's case either. Hawkinson, get your head out of your ass. DJ Chark, you had that decent first game. You had the touchdown. You had 50-something yards. Hey, you got us back in that game. But you need to stop dropping balls. Hawkinson needs to stop dropping balls. Everybody does. I think we lead the league in drop passes again. And people used to make fun of Stafford because they used to say that it was Stafford throwing too hard. Well, I'm telling you something. Goff doesn't throw the ball hard. So it's not that. We always seem to have that one big problem where we just fall apart. We just fall apart on offense. And dropping balls, we're leaving points on the field. And this team knows they are. So that's what you do to this defense, man. You got to hit him in the mouth. I think they can attack the middle of that field, even in the D-line, in the middle of the field with the short guys, with the short routes and stuff like that, with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously, man, is going to get used like crazy. You got to hit Chark on those long passes, on some longer passes. Get his speed going. He needs to get going. Josh Reynolds is playing some good football too. Hawkinson needs to step up a little bit too as well. And that's how we can beat them offensively. Just hopefully that they can execute. Now let's talk about this Vikings O versus our Lions D. Now this Vikings O, they got some guys, man. They have some guys. Kirk Cousins is one of those quarterbacks. He reminds me a ton of Jared Goff. He just reminds me a lot of him. It's either clicking with him or it's not clicking. He needs the Dalvin Cooks. He needs the Justin Jeffersons to get wide open a lot to have a successful day. Now, their O-line, Vikings O-line, it can be exposed. I really do like Brian O'Neill, their right tackle, though. Darisaw is still a young kid at left tackle. They can attack them through the middle. We need a Liam McNeil to throw around Bradbury. Hopefully he can do that. But Hutchinson, it looks like he's playing. He's banged up, but it looks like he's going to be playing. If he's playing hurt. Okay, so don't know what side he'll be. They kind of flip him around everywhere. It looks like Charles Harris takes majority of the right end spots. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like Hutchinson's mainly your left defensive end, but they do mix it around a little bit. So you're going to see probably Brian O'Neill on Hutchinson. So we're probably going to see a lot of, since Kaminsky's out, we're going to see, and Austin Bryan in there, Julian Okwara. Okwara had a pretty nice game last week with a bunch of pressures. Bryant needs to dress. I don't understand why he didn't even dress last week, which was just strange to me. But the guys I'm really worried about are obviously Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson. And then Thielen can sneaky kill you. Thielen has murdered this team in the past relentlessly. He's a guy that a lot of people sleep on, Adam Thielen. They're like, oh man, where's he been all day? All of a sudden he's caught 7 balls for 90 yards and a touchdown. You're like, when did that happen? It's kind of like it's kind of like been Thielen's MO like through his whole career. Like he just falls asleep. Next thing you know, he's got a bunch of catches for a bunch of yards and a touchdown. So you're like, man, so you got to keep an eye on him. Jefferson, I don't know who's going to lock up on Jefferson. Oruware's back. He's had some success with him in the past. Last year, I think he played pretty well against him, Oruware, but he's got this back thing, so he's not 100%. Nobody ever is in the NFL, but it is early. So I wouldn't be surprised if Okuda's on him, though. Wouldn't be surprised if Okuda's on him, and then you got Oruware on Thielen. So we're going to have to get a nice pass rush in order to help guys like Okuda and Oruware. We have to. Because Jefferson, if he gets going, he's a nightmare. Like I said, he's a top 2, top 3 wide receiver in the NFL today. When he gets going, he's unstoppable. And I don't want to see no damn gritty dance, man. I don't want to see that gritty dance. I have a feeling we're probably going to see it, though. I have a feeling we're probably going to see it, and it's going to bug the hell out of me. But we got to somehow shut Dalvin Cook. He's been a line killer too as well. D-line played excellent last week versus the run. This offensive line, it's not great. It's not a great O-line, but they got a couple really good players on an O-line in Minnesota. But they can run the football. Dalvin Cook is a monster. Alexander Mattison can do some things as well, too. So, and look out for Irv Smith Jr. That's a guy that they need to kind of lock down to. Whoever's going to be on him, I'm not too sure. Would it be Deshaun Elliott, Tracy Walker? But they need to really keep an eye on him because Kirk Cousins looks for him. I was watching that Philly game. His first read is always Justin Jefferson, it seems like, obviously. And then he looks to Irv Smith a ton. He had like 8 or 9 targets last week versus the Philadelphia Eagles. He caught a few balls as well, too. And then he started throwing the ball late to Adam Thielen. But if you get in Kirk Cousins' face, you upset him, you frustrate him, he'll start making stupid throws. That's exactly what he did against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles were bugging him. They were getting in his face. They were pushing him on the ground. Quarterback hurries, quarterback pressures. He just was throwing the ball up at one point. But we don't have a Darius Slay. We don't have a James Bradbury. Okuda, I think, can be a really good player in this league, but he's not in that category just yet. And Oruware is still a question mark to me. Still a question mark to me. Big time. So get in Kirk Cousins' face, bang him around, try to stifle that running game as much as you can. I think that's going to be tough, though. Because we're also going into a hostile environment because it's an NFC North game. The Vikings just got embarrassed by the Philadelphia Eagles, embarrassed on primetime television, something that Kirk Cousins does a lot. He always plays way better at 1 p.m. Always plays way better at 1 p.m. So I think it's going to be a tough game for the Detroit Lions. I really think it is. And I can't drink the Kool-Aid just yet. I love what this team is doing, Detroit. I really do. There's still holes all around the place, but you can see the improvement, and I think it has to be noted. And I think teams will start looking at this Lions offense and go, okay, wow, we don't even have a great quarterback, and you guys are doing this with it. Like, you guys are putting up this much points. So that turns heads. They want to know why, right? The running game, the weapons, Goff playing at a pretty good level right now. So teams are going to take notice, and defenses are going to have to gear on guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, gear on guys like DJ Chark, Hawk, Swift. They're going to have to gear on those guys. So I think it's going to be a real tough game. We're playing a pissed-off Minnesota team. So I'm taking the Vikings here, 34-31. I hope I'm wrong. I think we have a great shot at winning, though. If you would have asked me this question 2 weeks ago, I think half the people would have told you, I think 90% of the people would have told you Minnesota was going to run all over us. But what Philadelphia did to them last week, and us playing against Philly the way we played, I think the chances of us winning the game are greater than they were, obviously, a week or two ago. So I'll take that for now. we could definitely walk out of this game with a win. We could definitely walk out with a dub. I just don't think we're going to. I think it's going to be a great game. 34-31 Minnesota Vikings, man. Sorry, guys. Just, if they can win this game, man, I will full on be drinking the Kool-Aid. I'll have pictures of it. I'll be dumping pictures of Kool-Aid on me if they go out and go into Minnesota and win this game. Because Minnesota is a potential playoff team. Philadelphia is a potential playoff team, and I think they're going to win the East, actually, NFC East. And then even the Washington Commanders, the way they've been playing, they look like they're better than a lot what people expected, and I thought we beat them pretty good. So it's a game that we can win. Just don't think it's going to happen, guys. Sorry. 34-31 Minnesota Vikings. Thanks a lot, guys, for paying attention, tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, get all my videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this out. Going to be a close game. One pride. Go Lions. Boom. Let's go, baby.